Hi, my name is Avishai Mirlas, and I'm a student here at U of T for mineral engineering.
Hi, I'm Sungeon, and I'm a geoscience and material science student here at U of T.
Yeah, so today we're talking about the Brumadinho dam failure that happened in Brazil.
Yeah, right. It was such a big accident where it killed almost 250 people, including the near town's casualties and the company's self casualties.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess today we could get into the technical details behind the actual dam collapse, what caused the failure, the uh, the immediate effects of the dam failure, and the long-term effects that it had on the local environment in Brazil. So I guess the first thing we could get into is what the actual dam looked like, what the dam structure was. So
Dam was built in the upstream method, which Abhishek here we're gonna draw on the
yeah,
screen right here.
so pretty much the way the upstream method uh, of a dam works is that you have a mountainside like this. So this is a mountain, and over here you build an initial dam wall. And then you fill up the dam with tailings from the mining operations. This tailings material
In this
is,
case, was a iron ore and the leftover from the iron ores.
yeah, this is tailings material from iron ore production from the Brumadinho mine. In this case, the tailings material is quite soft, so it's not very good stabilization material.
Yes, when the tailing material is brittle, it tends to be close to the failure when the water is undrained, and in this case, the water was very hard to get drained.
Yeah, and then on top of this dam layer, you build another dam and then fill it again with more tailings. And then you continue, you build another dam and you continue filling it with more tailings. So the issue that arises with this method is that as you see these dam walls, they're supported by soft tailings. This area is soft tailings, which isn't very good support. And specifically in the case of the Brumadinho dam, the actual angle, the actual angle of the dam is quite steep.
Yes, and when the angle is very steep, it tends to have a much higher shear stress on the wall, which makes it easier for the dam to break.
Yeah, yeah. So now, what actually went wrong with the dam? Why did it break? So
Well, in this case, the Brumadinho Dam was located in the rainforest, which means high moisture index, high moisture, and high raining, which resulted in the water and the moisture index and the tailing to go up through the roof, which made it even more brittle.
yeah, yeah. So what actually happened was that that season specifically was very rainy and wet.
Yep.
So water infiltrated into the tailings. It infiltrated into the tailings and went all the way down to the bottom layer, to the toe region of the dam, which made it very unstable. And this effectively caused the dam from here to completely burst out. And pretty much all of this material, the dam material, the tailings, it flowed down the entire mountainside and wreaked havoc upon the local population, the local towns, the agriculture, because there's just so much
Of the mudslide.
so much
Yeah.
volume of mudslide. I think it was about 12 million
Cubic
cubic
meters.
meters
Yes.
of mud. Um,
Next, we're going to talk. Why don't we discuss about the social impact and the impact it had on the town itself?
yeah. Um, yes. Yes. So the actual dam was constructed by Vale, the mining company, and this dam, the reason why um, it was it exploded pretty much is because the there is negligence from above from the Vale company, and arguably this dam failure was preventable if they ensured that they secured the foundations properly and prevented all these water infiltration issues.
Yeah, it
And
was shown in the report that the valet had kept inspecting it, but they just kept neglecting the fact because the dam eventually they didn't think the dam would explode.
Yeah, yeah, and actually, in response to this dam failure, I think about 20 other tailings dams around Brazil. Um, the inspectors for them, they didn't want to risk that their dam is gonna break under their responsibility, so they failed to approve a positive rating for their dams because of this explosion in 2019.
Yeah, aside from inside the Brazil, this Brumadinho dam disaster allowed other countries to ban the upstream method because it was so unstable in such conditions.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's very interesting that um, they banned they banned this upstream method. Many countries they banned it only after a big failure happened. They didn't um, retroactively or proactively react. They only reacted after a major incident happened that killed 250 people.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Another
Uh,
um,
as a result, the company was fined actually $65 million on top of all the casualties the company itself had because the dam was really close to the headquarters of the ballet company.
Yeah, actually, I think in the pathway of the landslide that ensued from the dam collapse, there was a mining headquarters, a Vale headquarters, just in the pathway, and at that time the workers there were, I think they were eating lunch.
So
They were just
200,
on a break, and then just randomly out of nowhere, this entire mass of dam and mud just flows over them and pretty much kills them just instantly. You can imagine they're just eating lunch in the headquarters, and then
and just mudslide flowing
yeah,
in through your doors and windows.
yeah, and it's because of um, that in the future we need to be more active in the safety standards for these kinds of dams, so these things don't happen again. Um, yeah, let's talk about the impacts that this had, the long term impacts that it had on, say, the water supply and the local scenery.
So, and well, for example, let's talk about the tailings material first. Again, it has iron ores and lots of mining materials, right? And those
Yeah, that
things,
stuff is
heavy metal,
it's
cannot be
gross.
good in the
Yeah,
fresh
it's
water.
super toxic.
And especially with this such a big dam, which have been accumulating such tailings since 1976, it had lots of tailings that were toxic, and all of them just released at once, caused the freshwater near the dam to impact such in a negative way.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I think that the material it traveled, the like it made a landslide for several kilometers before it reached the rivers and the streams, and from there it was carried on for several hundred kilometers downstream, and it pretty much decimated the local agriculture in the area because their water supply was tampered with this toxic waste material from the mine.
As you
And
can see from here, with such tailings dam disaster, that does impact short-term disasters. Can impact long-term as well, by
yeah,
including freshwater impacts.
yeah, yeah. And actually, in the nearby river, the local fish population, I think it was um, several hundred kilometers downstream, the levels of heavy metals in the actual fish muscle tissue was detected as they had increased levels than normal before the actual dam collapse.
So it doesn't only impacts it directly, but it indirectly impacts the fishes and all
Yeah,
that, which made it accumulate into the heavy metals.
yeah, yeah. So as you can imagine, this kind of thing isn't very good for the environment, uh, and actually the local governments in those regions, they advised not to come close to the river water. I think it was 20 meters or so to avoid the river water because it was so toxic. And there's with that kind of thing, pretty much you just need to wait until the levels of
Toxicity flows
toxicity
down.
flows down. But yeah, it's very hard to put a price on the actual damage that uh, this kind of disaster had. Yeah, yeah. So maybe now we could talk about the technical considerations, like the effects that it had on the different spheres. I'm not sure if the viewers know this, but in geoscience, we can classify different layers of Earth as having different spheres. So there's the atmosphere, which is the air, the lithosphere, which is the
basically
Earth.
Earth.
Yeah, so
Hydrosphere,
yeah,
basically the water,
hydrosphere,
and
the
in
water.
this case, river,
Yeah,
pollution, and the moisturizers.
yeah, and the anthroposphere, which is the human segment of the Earth.
So, in this case, the dam tailing disaster, which was caused by the hydrosphere impacting the lithosphere, tailing here,
Yeah,
and the
because
hydrosphere, of course,
rainwater infiltrated into the dam, which is the lithosphere.
yes. And as a result, lithosphere, the tailing impacted the atmosphere, and in this case, where tailing just literally killed a bunch of people by the mudslides.
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting that the hydrosphere impacted the lithosphere, and then because of that, the lithosphere influenced the hydrosphere as the dam material flowed into the rivers and damaged the hydrosphere.
Yes. Uh,
Yeah. So maybe we could conclude here.
Thanks
Yeah.
for listening to us, and I'm Sungeon.
Yeah, and I'm Avishai. It was a pleasure doing this podcast with you.